Hey there, everyone. We're here at the Cannes Lions Festival, a global celebration of creativity, innovation, and marketing. We're in the Stagwell Speakers Lounge, and right behind us, there's a lot of live activity because this is where folks come right after they leave the main stage. Stagwell, a challenger network built to transform marketing, has brought this experience to you, and I'm here with Chris Brandt, the CMO of Chipotle today, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening here on the ground at Cannes and what's happening with marketing. So welcome, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, we're back here after a few years, and, pre-pandemic, there was a lot of talk around Cannes, and was it still relevant, and a lot of, people had perspectives, and some people weren't showing up, and some people were showing up, and, it really feels like there's a lot of energy here, but, over the last few years, there's been a lot of energy at Chipotle, too, as you've helped transform that business. I don't know, do you want to just give us a little bit of the high level of the last handful of years there and some of the great work you've all been doing?
Yeah, that would be great. So I started at Chipotle, as you know, back in 2018, and things have changed a lot with the pandemic. So the biggest piece for us is the digital transformation that Chipotle's undergone. We had a couple $100 million in digital sales in around 2017, 2018. In 2021, we had over $3.5 billion. So no doubt the pandemic played a huge role in that, but the action in the restaurant space and the growth in the restaurant space was in the digital platform even prior to the pandemic. So we had about $1 billion business by the end of 2019. And one of the first things, so there was a group of us that came in. We had a new CEO, our CTO had been there a year or two. We had a great app. We have a new COO that came in a year or two before I did as well. So we have kind of a new group. And the first thing we did was we invested in mobile pickup shelves. I remember the very first meeting I had as an executive team, we're like, we got to put mobile pickup shelves in. And so the beautiful thing about Chipotle is we own every restaurant. So we could just make the decision and we put them in. And we really raised awareness. I think the biggest piece for us at Chipotle, our challenge when we came in, was make the brand more visible, more relevant, and more loved. Yes. And we did a lot of research at the beginning of 2018, asking our consumers, what would make you come to Chipotle more often? The number one thing they said was free Chipotle, which wasn't that helpful. But one of the things that they said was, build a Chipotle near me. Mm-hmm. What they really meant was we wanted more access. Mm. And digital access was huge. And the great news is we were blessed with basically a second make line in all of our restaurants. So if you're in a lot of restaurants and there's digital orders, you might stand there and wait while the digital orders get made. The beauty of Chipotle is we have a whole digital kitchen in the back. So all the digital orders go through that line. All the frontline orders stay the front line. So we're in an interesting situation as we come out of the pandemic. Is about roughly 40% of our sales now are digital. Mm-hmm. So the operators at the individual restaurant level, now they have a much bigger business than they had pre-pandemic. And they've got this digital business, which is accuracy is something that Chipotle never had to worry about because you walk down the line.
Exactly, yeah.
But now that you have a digital business, we've got this whole other business that they didn't have before. It was 10% of the business, it was cute. Now, no, it's 40% of the business. We got to make that work along with as the in-restaurant business comes back. It's a real challenge for us, but it's a good challenge to have. And the good news is the brand has thrived in the last 3 or 4 years. I think our sales, we were in 2017, we did $4.9 billion in sales in total. And last year we did $7.5 billion. So it's been quite a rise.
One of the things I think that's really interesting with Chipotle is it's always kind of, at its core been about fresh food, right? Mm-hmm. You show up to the line, there's the 50-ish ingredients there, it's made every morning, cooking real chicken, real knives, it's a real kitchen, which I think is one of the very first things you explained to me when we started working together. You said, it's a real kitchen operation, we're not just heating stuff in the microwave. But I think core then to that, the brand has really been, the leaning into real food, the leaning into the freshness, and kind of, the environment and sustainability, and kind of really solidifying, I think, what Chipotle stands for a lot of consumers. And I think that was really interesting to watch. I think it's always been there from probably the beginning of time, but I think, this new team and yourself really crystallized that for consumers. And with some really interesting innovations in the app and stuff like that.
Yeah, that I'm glad you pointed that out, Brad. I've schooled you well.
Yes, absolutely, you have. Yeah.
But I think that one of I will tell you the most personally impactful day I had at Chipotle was in my second week. When you start at Chipotle, everybody does some training inside the restaurant, so you see what it's really like. And the inside of a Chipotle looks more like a farmer's market than any other restaurant I've ever been to. And because there's whole avocados coming in, there's whole peppers coming in, there's the chicken's on the grill, and so the team is using classic culinary techniques. And so it's different. We are different, so we like to be different. We like to show up in different places. I mean, we showed up at the Rose Parade. What restaurant goes to the Rose Parade? We did that. We did one of my favorite things we did was we showed up at the National Spelling Bee. And what restaurant goes to the National Spelling Bee? But we asked consumers. We wanted to double down on what makes us special. I think that was one of the brand when we came on had kind of lost its confidence a little bit, and the tone got a little negative because the tone was we were talking about what other people don't do as opposed to celebrating what made Chipotle special. And what does your mom always tell you, right? Don't worry about what other people do, just worry about yourself. So we wanted to really celebrate the sustainability of Chipotle, the unprocessed nature of our food, and the freshness and all of those things. And so we doubled down on all of that, and it really worked. And we went to the spelling bee and we asked people to spell an ingredient at Chipotle. We only have 53. They're all ingredients you can pronounce, like avocado and corn. And we also asked them to spell something you might find in a competitor, like dimethyl polysiloxate. And it was a really charming execution and it really worked out. But the other freedom we have is to do, like, we did an animated sequel to Back to the Start, which won, I think, a ton of awards here at Cannes Lions back in 2012, 2013. We did a sequel to that called A Future Begins. I think we've been shortlisted in 9 categories. We've won 3 so far.
Nice.
It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. And having the freedom as a marketer to do, we know we have to launch new products, and we know we have to do some and raise awareness of our digital platform, and we do some of that blocking and tackling. But having the freedom to do fun things and really, I don't know, more pieces of art and more pieces of creativity that this is supposed to, that what Cannes is designed to celebrate, being able to do those things as a marketer is pretty huge.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting because, I was in the queue over here yesterday and standing behind some folks that were clearly European, and they were talking about Chipotle. And even though, not a huge footprint, not on the continent, at all, the brand has almost become part of culture. And you look at some of the activations you folks have done, like some of the Metaverse stuff, it's really, so it's not just about the operational transformation and then the brand purpose transformation, but then it's also about being in culture. And you guys have done some really cool stuff in the Metaverse in the last 6 to 8 months.
We love to experiment, and I think I'm blessed at Chipotle. We have such a fabulous team overall. And they're super creative. And one of the places the goal for us again is to be relevant in culture. And we had an objective when we first started to we wanted to drive difference where the difference is real. We wanted to drive transactions, and we did that through menu innovation, but we also did it through the digital transformation and through launching a loyalty program that the folks at GALE have been a great partner in growing that business from nothing in 2019 to we have more than 28 million people in the loyalty program today. And then driving culture. And when we said drive culture back in 2018, it was probably, we just wanted to be a part of culture. Now I think we are starting to make some strides. And being in the Metaverse was a huge experiment. I remember when our team, our social and digital team, pitched the idea to me of, we're going to, hey Chris, Halloween at Chipotle is a big deal. We call it burrito, and traditionally it's been where you wear a costume and you come in and you get some kind of discount. We couldn't do that, clearly have people come in, so how do you replicate that in the digital realm? Well, they came with the idea that we're going to build a Chipotle, all Halloween themed, in the Metaverse, on Roblox, and I was like, wow, that is, that's interesting. My number one rule of marketing, as you've heard, is don't be lame. And when brands build their own site inside a game, that has a lot of potential to be terrible. And I told them, I was like, well, I said, you guys know don't be lame. And so we won't launch something if we're not proud of it. And I will tell you, the team did an amazing job of executing on that. Yeah. And when they launched it, Roblox actually went down right as we launched. And it was all cute when it was down for an hour. People were like, haha, Chipotle broke Roblox. We did not break Roblox, but they went down for like 2.5 days. But it was an amazing execution that they did. Really made Chipotle look terrific. We followed that up with another one here on National Burrito Day just a month or two ago. In total, I think we've had 15 million gameplays across the two executions, and we've had billions and billions of impressions. And so I think the metaverse it's coming. No one knows what form it'll be. I think there's a lot of misperceptions about the metaverse, but we want to be the brand that's there. Yeah. We want to be a brand that when it's possible to order in the metaverse and get a burrito delivered to your house, we want to be the brand doing it.
And so I suppose the final thing which you just mentioned is community, right? I mean, I think when you take, a business is transformed operationally, that's purpose-driven, that folks connect with, that is driving culture, then you create community, right? And you mentioned the loyalty program at 28 million people, and kind of how do you think about kind of Chipotle, driving community and having folks connect into the brand, and kind of creating that relationship, that ongoing relationship with them, not like the once a quarter, frankly, because I'm hungover in the morning and I need a deep fried potato, but kind of like an ongoing relationship with them.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge we keep talking about, is how to make our loyalty program and the Chipotle customer base at large a community. Yeah. Because I remember when we were having the discussions around our loyalty program, it's like, I don't want this to be a loyalty program where you feel like you have to join because, or else you get treated like a second-class citizen, right? Yeah. I want it to be a place where you want to belong. I think we're on that journey. People clearly love to belong to it, 100%. And I think we've added a lot of features like milestones and badging and those kind of things. But we have, and I think we can unite this community around sustainability. I mean, that is a core tenet of Chipotle. I think one of the things we did right when we came in 2018 was we celebrated Chipotle's brand purpose of cultivating a better world. And it's not just a plaque on a wall. In fact, I don't think we have it on a plaque on the wall. It is something that really lives, not only for us at the headquarters and the marketing team, but really throughout the organization, all the way down to the store level. And I think that celebrating that, feeling like everybody feels like, look, we've got to do things better for the environment. Yep. And we think that real is better.
Agreed.
Real food is better. It's the way people should eat, right? It's better for you as a person. It's better for people in general. It's better for the planet. So we want to try to celebrate that. We've put some things like the real food print in. So if you order digitally, you can see how your order is better for the environment than than conventionally raised things. Yep. And so, for me, look, Chipotle tastes terrific. And if you feel like it's better for you and better for the environment, then why would you eat anywhere else?
Agreed. And so my last question for you is, an if you knew then kind of question, which is, what advice would you give yourself, when you were 22? If you could give yourself advice now, look back and be like, hey, 22-year-old Chris Brandt, this is a piece of professional advice for you. What is that? What's that wisdom you would you'd share with yourself?
Well, my 22-year-old self probably wouldn't have listened to
someone. Absolutely.
But I think that one of my favorite mottos is, things work out best for those that make the best of the way things work out. And I went to UCLA for business school, and that's a John Wooden quote. And I think that you have to be adaptable. Everything isn't always going to be an upward trajectory like this. There's bumps along the way, but you just make the best of whatever situation you have. Be an optimist. Things are going to work out. Keep working hard, and be nice to people.
Be nice.
And treat people the way you'd want to be treated, and I think you'll be just fine.
Works out. So I want to thank you all for joining us backstage. To learn more about how Stagwell is transforming marketing, you can follow us on LinkedIn. You can also follow us on Twitter @Stagwell. And I appreciate the time this morning.
Thank you. You guys are great partners.
Thanks.
Yeah.